Good morning, people of YouTube. Welcome back to Maverick Baking and welcome to an experiment video. Yes. In today's experiment video, we are going to be tasting a cake made just with all the regular ingredients and regular sugar against a cake made with a natural sweetener. I have no idea how this is going to go. So recently I was contacted and sent a lovely package by the people at Natvia. Now they create this kind of natural sweetener which is made from a blend of erythritol and stevia. Both are natural sweeteners found naturally, they're not artificial, blah blah blah. Essentially the company started out selling kind of sweeteners for coffee and things, which they also sent to me. I've yet to taste these, as you can probably tell. But they've also started making a kind of baking sugar. So this is made entirely without sugar, but it can be used in exactly the same way as sugar. I don't know if you can see, it looks just like sugar. And basically I thought the best way to test this and give you my thoughts would be to bake a cake with it. So that's what I did. So I made these two small 4-inch lemon cakes. So these are just simple lemon sponges with a little bit of lemon curd in the middle. I didn't want to ice them up too much to take away from the taste of the actual cake. And today we're going to taste them and see if there's any difference. So let's get into it. Before I taste the cake, let me quickly show you how I made them. Okay, back to another voiceover. So here we have a bowl with some soft butter or margarine and our sugar and our Natvia. We add an egg, we add flour and some salt. And this is known as the all-in-one method, where basically you just whisk everything together. A little bit different from normal, but still produces a very lovely cake. So as you can see, once it's all smooth, you just look out your nice little prepared cake tin, all nice and greased up. Add your cake mix to it, level it top, and then it's time to bake. Okay, so I originally planned this to be a bit of a blind taste test, but honestly, as you can see, the cakes do look quite different. So that was never really gonna work. So you can see that this cake, the normal cake made with regular sugar, is an even color all over. It's an even kind of height. It's an even bake. It smells good, it smells like cake. You can smell that kind of gently caramelized sugar on the kind of outside crust of the cake. I say crust, it's not like hard. I mean, it looks fairly boring because it's a naked cake, but it looks like cake, yeah? So to compare to the cake made with natural sweetener, honestly, this one did rise slightly differently. It wasn't as even, and it has gone kind of firmer on the outside, which I didn't expect. I actually thought the kind made with sugar might do that instead. And as you can see, it's a kind of weird color. It's not really the same kind of even golden color that the regular cake was, but it still looks like a cake. And it's probably still gonna taste nice. Anyway, let's get on to the important part, the taste test. So I am going to go ahead and taste the version baked with Natvia first. Now, as I said, all of the quantities in these cakes were identical. Everything was weighed, even down to the lemon curd. Everything was exactly the same in both cakes, just apart from the sweetener. So let's taste this Natvia version. Okay, so I've taken a tiny little slice of this cake. Let's just have a look at the inside. You might be able to see, not so much at the bottom, because cakes generally are moister at the bottom just because of gravity drawing that moisture kind of down the way. The cake at the top seems to have almost dried out a little bit at the edges. I don't know if you can see, there's almost a difference in the kind of crust area than there is in the rest of the cake. It's obviously not the lightest, fluffiest cake ever because I use the all-in-one method, but it does smell good. It smells like a cake. So let's take a bite and see what we think. You know what? It's not bad. So the cake, even though it is kind of drier at the edges and almost has a kind of scone texture at the edge, it's still moist in the center. It's still nice and light. Has a nice kind of gentle lemon taste. If you were to give a slice of this cake to the man on the street, I don't reckon he'd be able to tell the difference. We've had a slice of our Natvia cake. It's good. It's lemony, it's light. The only difference we noticed was really at the edge. So let's move on to taste the full sugar version. So we have a slice of our regular cake. The only real difference you can see is in the golden color of this cake. The appearance of that is known as the Maillard reaction, which is, I believe, when the sugar kind of caramelizes in the heat and adds to that lovely kind of sweet flavor that cake has. And you'll be able to see at the edge, it doesn't have that weird sort of drier line. And again, that could just be because I overbaked it slightly, but when these were both baked at exactly the same temperature for exactly the same time in the same part of the oven, you know, it shows that the Natvia might take to being baked slightly differently. Other than that though, they look pretty similar. So let's take a bite and see how this one is. This is going to be difficult. Honestly guys, I'm not sure there's a whole lot of difference in taste, and I'm quite surprised. And the only tiny difference I might be able to identify is the fact that the cake made with Natvia tastes maybe marginally sweeter, like a tiny bit sweeter than the cake made with regular sugar. But that's about it. If you were to give people these slices blindfolded, I doubt they'd be able to tell a difference in anything but the texture. And I'm really impressed by that. Now, obviously, when it comes down to the science of the baking in these cakes, it is clear to see which one makes a more attractive bake, and I would say that is the one with normal sugar, because I think it caused it to be a more even bake throughout and a nicer color, whereas the cake made with Natvia is slightly paler and has a slightly different texture at the edges. And that's down to the actual science of the ingredients though. The Natvia cake maybe needs to be baked at a lower temperature for slightly longer to give it a chance to evenly bake throughout without getting too kind of firm and scone-like at the edges. But either way, but in saying that, this is just a dry cake. You know, if you were to put a generous layer of frosting on the outside like you would with most cakes, or even to dust it with icing sugar to help keep it moist and fresh, I honestly don't think you'd be able to tell a difference. I'd be very surprised if a normal person, let alone a baker who eats cake a lot, could tell a difference between these cakes in anything other than appearance. I didn't expect that. So basically, I'm pretty impressed with Natvia. Now, obviously Natvia is slightly more expensive than sugar, and I'm never going to advocate eating less sugar. I love sugar, I eat sugar every day, and I do feel like there has been a lot of scaremongering when it comes to sugar. But if, for example, you are diabetic or you feel you have too much sugar elsewhere in your diet, you might want to try things like Natvia, whether it's in your coffee, in your cooking, in your baking, even just in something a bit more kind of everyday, like pancakes or porridge or something like that. You may want to try this, and I'll leave a link in the description box below to where you can find it. Personally, I don't think I'll be swapping out my sugar for Natvia anytime soon, but I can certainly attest to the fact that this makes a pretty decent cake, and certainly one that tastes every bit as delicious as one with sugar in everything but the texture, which is pretty impressive for being a new product. So I'd like to give a big thank you to Natvia. As I said before, they have not sponsored this video, they have not paid for my opinion, they have just simply been kind enough to send the product to me, so I'm glad they did because it's allowed me to test it for you guys. If you guys enjoyed this video and you'd like to see some other kind of experimental videos, let me know in the comments below. Oh, and don't forget to hit that like button and the subscribe button. Duh. But in the meantime, I don't have anything else for you guys today, I'm afraid, so I will see you for the next one. I have some cake to eat.